and welcome back to my channel. So today I have another Sims 4 speed build for you, and honestly, I started with the inspiration of like maybe a Victorian kind of house, like hence that little like tower in the corner, but I would definitely not call this build Victorian, but that's kind of like how it started. And then I kind of added in that like blue brick and then that dark brown like paneling, and it just kind of went from there. And I wanted it to be like a tiny home, but I actually end up expanding it so it's under the category of a small home, which is 100 tiles, so that like it could actually fit like a family, because I wanted this to be like a proper small family home. So that's actually what we have, and it reminded me a lot of like a row house that I feel like, at least we don't have them where I live, like but maybe like I think in like bigger cities a lot of times it's basically just a bunch of these like skinny houses like lined up together kind of thing, and that's what it reminded me of. And it's actually really funny when I was actually showing my husband like what I built, because I actually really do like the way it turned out. Like he was like, oh, I was like, I don't know what to do with the side yard. And he was like, well, maybe it's like they bought it and it like the one that was next door was torn down or something, so it's like an empty lot, so they bought both of them, and so they're kind of like fixing up that lot. And I thought that was a really cute idea. Like kind of we're pretending, because obviously like you can't have, you know, stuff like townhouses and apartments like on your own in The Sims. Like you can pretend and play that way, but that's not really how it works. So that's kind of the idea I went with. I really wanted this to be a truly like what it is to me, like maybe to be kind of a family home, where like they bought this, maybe it was an older home, so they're fixing it up a little bit. It's a little quirky, like the layout's kind of odd, but you know what, it works, and they're making it work, and they're kind of doing some like stuff to it to make it a little bit better. Like maybe, I don't want to say better, they're just doing it to like update it. That's the word I'm looking for. We're not making it better, we're updating it. And I like, you know, with the like big window in the front, and I think maybe they put on like new paneling and bricks and stuff like that to make it, you know, like I don't know, more modern looking. But we do end up expanding the house out a bit in the back, and to make it just like a little bit bigger to actually encompass having 2 bedrooms in here. And so we do have a 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom, and the bedrooms and bathrooms are all upstairs. And there's even like a little like office area, which honestly I was really happy that I could put in there, because I figured in a house of 3 Sims that would probably be really helpful to actually have a computer space. Like I figured at least one of them's gonna need it for some reason. So anyways, actually just trying to figure out how I'm going to lay this out. I will say the little like tower area was a bit difficult to work with. I'm not going to lie, because I literally created just a bunch of diagonal walls. Then I had to like figure out what to do. And I was thinking I was going to actually use that tower for like the bathroom, but then I end up putting like windows all the way around it. And I was like, this can be really difficult to make a bathroom. So I don't end up making the like tower a bathroom. And specifically I'm talking about the second floor. On the first floor I actually end up making it like a small dining area, and the dining area only has 3 chairs in it, since this was made for a family of 3. But there are other places to, you know, sit if they do have company over, like the living room and that kind of thing, and outside. And I really was just trying to figure out what I wanted the like identity of this space to be. Like what did I like want it to look like? And so I was really just kind of doing things until I like figured it out. Like I was just trying things to see what felt right. And so I ended up like, I don't end up using that big, beautiful archway we got with Get Together, because it was just too big, but I really wanted to. So we do end up taking it out, although I kept it for as long as possible without removing it. But I did end up putting in this like really pretty like floral wallpaper in the dining room, because like my thought process is like, again, they're trying to update it, and like it just looks like one of those places that they're trying to update, and they're like, you know what, if we put like a fun like funky modern wallpaper in there, like, you know what I mean, it'll help like spruce up the space. So like that's the pattern that they chose for it, and it just feels like, I don't know, like that's what I'm thinking. I don't know what these Sims are like I'm just thinking about the like storyline of how the home became the way it was, if that makes sense. And I will say I struggled a bit with the staircase. Like I liked it there and I was like, I'll put the kitchen there, but then it was kind of close. And then I was like, what do I do underneath the stairs? So we end up actually doing kind of like a galley kitchen thing here, but it was like really wide. So I end up putting like a small table in the middle, kind of like the, like a makeshift island area. Like, hey, I think we need a little more space for us. So we end up putting that in there, and we do end up putting the sink underneath the stairs. Your sim can get to all that stuff. This has been play tested, so all of it should work properly and you shouldn't have any kind of issues. And this is already up on the Sims 4 gallery if you would like to download it under my ID, Spice and Sprinkles, all one word, all lowercase, and down in the description if you want to see it written out. And at the point when I was like looking at doing the living space, I was like, I really wish it was even a little bit bigger. Like I think I end up making it a bit bigger. Oh no, this is as big as it is, right? Because it's 100 out of 100 tiles already, which I was, by the way, I was very proud of myself. I was very proud of myself that that I was exactly 100 tiles, which becomes a bit of an issue a little bit later, which I'll talk about, but because I had to actually find a spare tile somewhere that I could use for something else, like, which we'll get to, like I said, a little bit later on. And just adding a little bit of clutter around in here, so some cutting boards. Like I wanted to use like that casserole dish there on that like center table, and like the sunflower vase thing for the spoons on the counter and things like that, just like things that seemed I don't know, more traditionally homey. I don't know. At least that's what it is to me, okay? Like, obviously we can have different opinions, but to me, that's just like what it screamed. And I was like, oh, let me add these dog treats on top of the counter. And then I forgot that I did that, and I was like, oh, they can have a dog. And I even add like a dog, I think, sculpture in the living room, because I was like, oh, they're probably like, oh, this is really cute, and add this. And I do end up adding a food bowl and a like little bed and like a little toy thing in the home for a dog, but I kind of briefly forgot. So eventually I do that. I can't even remember if I did that on or off camera. Like whether later on I was like, oh wait, I forgot I need to, do that. So I end up thinking they had this like slightly awkward like fireplace over in the corner. So they kind of created like a bookshelf, like built-in kind of thing around it, trying to give themselves a little more storage, that kind of thing, and putting that TV over there on the wall. And this is again a place that I struggled a little bit with the identity of the home in terms of like what I wanted this to look like. But to me, that like cats and dogs couch just like screamed like kind of classic family home. I don't know. Like, let me know. Do you agree? Are those the vibes you get like when you think about that kind of thing? Or I don't know. Like, that's just what I was thinking. And we had that like really nice molding and everything in the living room. But what I discovered, I think that was bugging me, was it was so dark in there with all the wood that like it was kind of bringing the living room down a bit in terms of, I guess, mood and everything. So then what I was thinking is, you know what, maybe this family was like, we need to update this a little bit. So they actually like paint the wood like white, and I think that gives it a little bit of a facelift and makes it a little lighter and brighter in here, and I think makes like a lot of difference in the way this room feels. So that's what I figured they may have done to update this space, and then just adding in some like, and to me, like kid items, like some games, something that maybe the kid actually painted and they had maybe a scout trophy, that kind of thing. And I imagine that the kid at this point is a teenager, and I make them a proper messy teenage room upstairs. And I just think it was really funny when I was making it. I was like, this looks so ridiculous, but honestly, it could be quite accurate. And then just adding in the space up here where you've got this kind of awkwardly small like hallway upstairs, which again, I feel like might be realistic in a home like this. And so I was trying to figure out like what happened, like why like there ends up being that awkward room at the end with the tower and then that space right behind the stairs. Like I was thinking like I end up putting the small office space behind the stairs there, and then the teenager actually lives in that like tower room, and it makes it sound like it's Rapunzel or something. In the tower, but in that space. And like it is such an awkward space, by the way, but I do figure out how to make it work. It does look cute and I do like it, but I was thinking maybe like originally the house, like that whole space back there was like open, You know what I mean? Like maybe it was some sort of like den or like just a giant office kind of thing. But, you know, they were like, oh, we have a kid, so we need to like make room for this. So they kind of stick a little office behind the stairs instead, maybe close up that hallway a little bit more and make another room for their kid, if that makes sense. Like that's what I'm thinking while they were like renovating. And then I actually really liked these nightstands for the table, for the bed, for the bed. Oh my goodness, y'all, this is ridiculous. Like, what does that even mean? Anyways, I really like these. I don't think I've ever seen them before. We do end up swapping them out. I was thinking they would work really well, but then I end up, I believe, swapping them out for the ones that have like I don't know, the floral, like iron work on them. You'll see what I'm talking about when I actually put in the dresser, because I think at that point is when I actually added in like those nightstands as well. And I decided to go with the curtains that have the leaves and stuff. I wanted a little more personality in there, because leaving it just a beige color, it just felt very, to me, like flat, you know what I mean? And I don't feel like this is like I don't think this was like one of those family homes that's just everything's beige and everything like that. It's just, you know, a more traditional home, if that makes sense. So I wanted like, you know, a little pizzazz on the curtain. So we end up having that like gold leaf on there, which I thought was super cute. And then adding in that really nice mirror that we got with Get Together in here. And then just adding a little bit of clutter there on the nightstands. So a couple bottles for like cosmetics, some books, like a pair of glasses, that kind of thing. Just, I don't know, I feel like pretty typical stuff. And I do end up actually putting in the doggy bed upstairs in this room. So we put a small bed over in the corner and moved the shoes out of the way, which again, I didn't have that on. Yeah, actually, I don't think I did. I don't think I filmed it because it was later on and I was like, oh, wait. I was going to put a dog in here. So I don't think I actually filmed it. So I thought I'd let you know in case that is true and I did not film it. So you'll see that in the screenshots and in what you download off the gallery. And obviously if you don't want to play with a pet, you can just, you know, get rid of the pet stuff. Or if you don't have pets, it won't be there. And then just adding in that little like cubby corner for a little desk and that parenthood board, you know, which deals with, I guess, doesn't it do like curfews and stuff like that, which I thought was really cute and that they might have in the hallway there outside of the kids' room. And I'm not going to lie, I tried to do some things like this, and I thought that would be really cute, but here's the issue. It created these weird little things on the side of the house. And so I couldn't do that, which was very frustrating. So we ended up not using like a platform or anything. And the bed is just kind of like there, kind of in the middle, if that makes sense. And I believe I can't remember. I think I ended up swapping the bed out because that was the inspiration for this room. I was like, you know what? I think this sim, you know, is like into like black, gray, like greens, maybe some blues. And I think that, you know what, they're really into music kind of thing. So we have like a guitar in here and then like that big amp speaker setup for a stereo. And like we have some like, I don't know, kind of music posters on the wall kind of thing. And so that's like the gist I got of like what I think maybe this teen is like. And of course we have a pile of clothes and all that kind of good stuff. And I will say that this room is also going to look a little different because when I was playtesting it, like not shockingly, this is a really weird space, but I figured that like the left side of the bed was just gonna have a bunch of stuff over there. Like the sim was not gonna use the left side of the like bed to get there. But on the right side, I just had a couple of things and I used the like pile of dirty clothes from base game over there. And, I don't think the sim, like, I'm pretty sure maybe the speakers there, like were causing them an issue, but there was a pile of clothes on the floor. The sim couldn't handle it. They were like, no, I cannot get by this pile of clothes on the floor. So I'm going to be really difficult about it. So anyways, we basically, all of the items are still there. A lot of it just ended up getting shoved to the left side of the bed. So there's not as much on the right side, if that makes sense. So to make sure that your sim can actually get to the bed and all of that kind of good stuff. And that like the feel of this room is still intact. And so for this side yard, like I said, like my husband was like, you know what? Like, maybe they built, you know, they bought the empty lot next door and they're like trying to fix it up kind of thing. And so I do end up moving the house around a little bit to make the fence make a little more sense. And I end up actually doing a like almost like a parallel parking kind of thing here where like I'm thinking again, like if this was like in a city or something, like they would maybe have street parking. instead of like, you know, a driveway. So there's actually going to be a car, but it's going to be like pulled in like sideways, which I thought was like kind of cute. Again, kind of like that, possibly that like city vibe for it. And then just adding in, I think, some stone over by that lamppost, kind of like, oh, we need a place to go put our trash can kind of thing. And then I tried to keep the landscaping a little bit simple. I end up just putting some, like, I do swap these out a couple of times, but just basically some green bushes out here. And then we end up doing like a few flowers in the backyard kind of thing. And again, try not to make it too complicated. I feel like they're giving this place kind of a facelift, and like they're not trying to do like a whole ton and make it look like just like insane with stuff, if that makes sense. But I figured that someone in the family is also into gardening. We do have a gardening space back there. And also, I will say something that changes, because remember I said that we're going to have an issue with a tile count. Yeah, so I end up having to shrink down the back porch so that I can have this tile, which becomes absolutely necessary, because what I actually end up doing back here is I create an above ground pool back here, which I thought was such an adorable idea. Like, I'm thinking they're like, oh man, like we just got this house. We're gonna, you know, make it really pretty. I'm gonna put in a pool, but like an above ground pool is much cheaper than like an in ground pool. And so I just like, and I know that like in terms of it looking like modern and sleek and stuff, the in ground is like, you know, obviously like better looking, but I just really like the idea of the above ground pool, and it was just a lot more realistic. I feel like more families might have that instead than like an in ground. So we do create that, but when I do that, I end up just using a staircase to go up to the pool. Now here's the issue. So the sim could get in the pool, but the sim then couldn't get out of the pool. So I end up having to use like a 1 square platform by the stairs so the sim can actually interact with it. So that's why we ended up having to shrink that back porch. So I just thought I'd go ahead and let you know. We still keep the grill. The grill is back there. We move the table out actually in front of the pool. And I'm not going to lie, I cut out a lot of the footage of the pool because it took me a little while to kind of like get it to work the way I wanted to, if that makes sense. And then just adding some simple like bushes back there. And then I end up adding a lot of gravel again. Like, I'm thinking they're like, you know, we need to be realistic. Like, we're not going to have like a bunch of time to be taking care of a ton of plants. You know what I mean? So I just add in some gravel over here, and then I end up putting the gardening stuff over in what's left of the yard there. And I figured since the kid is a teen, they don't necessarily need to worry about having like a swing set or anything like that. But if you download, of course, you can add stuff if you want to, or swap stuff around. And then they were like, oh, you know what? We definitely need this cute little like area to come hang out and like relax by the pool. And like, I don't know. Like I said, it feels weird to come up with like a bunch of almost like lore for how the build ended up being the way it is versus like basically nothing about The Sims, just like how like the build ended up the way it is. And so then just adding, I feel like just some simple vegetation out here. So a couple bushes, keeping it, like I said, a little bit simple. Like, I feel like whoever likes gardening in the family probably like wants there to be a few flowers around, but again, not like that much to take care of. So we do put some places to actually do some like plant growing over here. Like, I don't know why I said that so awkwardly, but I did. And we do end up losing the beach towel. I thought that was kind of cute. Like, I thought maybe the kid was like, I'm gonna just take a beach towel. Like, I don't need a lounge chair. But we end up losing it because because that's where the table ends up going in order to fit in the yard really nicely. And the look of the pool doesn't change too much. I do end up taking out the railing that's around it because it just felt like too much, especially when you're like looking at the build, if that makes sense. So we do take that out. But there's not much else that's like different about the backyard other than, like I said, we just kind of had to swap a few items around because of that stair. Yeah, because the sim would go up the stairs and then it couldn't go in because of the ladder to the pool. But then when I took it out, they couldn't get out of the pool. Anyways, it was a whole thing. It's fixed. It works now. So if you plan on downloading it, let me know. Like, do you have a family in mind for this place? And if you liked it, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And I hope you have a really sweet day. Bye, everybody.
I lose my breath whenever I see you. You stole my heart. What is it that you do? Was great till you added colors. Like the moon needs the sun, we don't care about the others. You set my world on wanna love you, just wanna hold you, just wanna be with you till we grow old. Please tell me you'll stay or take me away. I want you for myself every single day. You set my world on fire. You set